Okay, today is Thursday, December 29th, 2022, and here we are to the east of Bangkok, and we are at a famous Wat. This is called Wat Maneewong. Beautiful day, probably about high 70s, low 80s, blue sky. And this, of course, is the dry season here in Thailand. It hasn't rained for quite a few days, and there isn't any rain expected for the next 10 days. The humidity is very low. Actually, it feels like Southern California. And here, what this is just a way to try to fight COVID. Oftentimes what's happening here is this is actually ethanol and water. So I'm getting a little spray of grain alcohol. So there you go. Okay, now this is rather interesting. This is an offering box for this bull. And this is a real bull. It's not castrated. And basically what they want to do is they want to buy this bull and let it live its life here, I guess, at the temple. But what happens is they haven't bought it yet. So we have to put some money in the box right here. And I guess if you do put some money in the box, you get some grass, so you can feed the bull. So let's take a look at our bull here. A lot of people.
Put a few baht to help
the bull. Okay. Okay, 10
You
baht
feed
here.
him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Grab it.
Here we put 10 baht in the offering box, and we get a handful of grass. Now the question is, how long has this bull been here? He may have been here for years, so people are making offerings to spare him from becoming dinner. So he's very tame, obviously. This is, I guess, the Brahma bull with a great big hump on his back. He's truly a bull. It's not castrated. Here we go. He's going to let me pet him. And he's going to even let me feed him by hand. There we go. Prefers that fresh grass. So let's take a look at him of a side view so we can get an idea how big he really is. So that's a good sized Brahma bull. Okay, here we are visiting the Hong Nam at the temple. And what is a Hong Nam? That's a room, water. That is the restroom, and it looks to be like a rather elaborate restroom. So I'm going to go over here to the men's section, and usually the urinals are actually outdoors for the men. But it's interesting, they have all kinds of fountain right here. See if there's anything in their fountain. Okay, now we're getting ready to enter the Wat, and we see, of course, the artistic decoration of the serpents or the dragon. Normally we take our shoes off when going into the Wat proper, but I guess they decided not to do that here. This is a busy day because this is a type of holiday. This is kind of the New Year. This isn't necessarily the Thai New Year, but here a lot of people celebrate this time just because it's the New Year. In fact, I would say that the Wat takes any opportunity to celebrate something. So, here we go. Alrighty, and quite an interesting Wat. It's a little different from what we're used to. A little different decor. Oftentimes these Wats will be strongly influenced by either Chinese or Indian. And here we're real heavy on the dragons. And there we see Siddhartha the Buddha. The Thai Buddha is very handsome and slender. And here we go, we'll enter the dragon. So here we're going into the inner sanctuary of our temple. And again, normally we would have left our shoes at the door, but apparently they're foregoing that today. Here's something interesting. This is a swamp cooler, and on a day like today where it's very dry, this is extremely effective. I feel a considerable temperature drop, very cool air coming from this swamp cooler. And what is it doing? It just has a water tank and oftentimes some type of filter pads and just a fan that moves rather slowly and quietly. And what it's doing is humidifying the air, and in the process taking on the latent heat of vaporization. So 970 British thermal units per pound of water that's vaporized, and it's sure working well today. This is a dry day and a good day for a swamp cooler. In fact, we see several of them here. Quite an interesting array of dragons and dragon artwork. Apparently this area is not directly air conditioned, so hence the swamp coolers and the fans. We are slightly to the northeast of Bangkok, so we're in a very hot, humid area there in the summertime. This is going to be very hot, but here in December it's much cooler and very dry. Well, our dragons just keep going on and on. Okay, we have quite an elaborate array of artwork, serpents or dragons, statues, and oftentimes what we see here is gold leaf. And remember, gold has that interesting property is that I can actually plate something almost a molecule thick. So a very small quantity of gold goes a long way towards covering a object or a statue. And of course some of it is just quality gold paint. So here we go. Now this Wat is well attended. We had to park in overflow parking today. How you doing? Okay, here we see the main. Here we have the Thai Buddhist, St. Arthur, and he's very pleasant looking, certainly physical fit. Okay, here's interesting. Here we have a serpent and its tongue is sticking out, and obviously a lot of people going past it are going to brush it, but that's a spring-loaded tongue. So if you touch it, it just moves to the side. Okay, here we see a treasure trove, and that kind of reminds us of the movie Aladdin about the genie. So here the genie lamp is hidden among the treasure troves. However, remember, a genie is a Middle Eastern concept. So we're in Thailand. This is Southeast Asia, so there's no genie here. No genie. However, the treasure trove is defended by dragons. And there are plenty of those. Oh, here we go. Here. Let's take a look at the gold leaf. Okay. Here we see gold leaf. This is actually what we were talking about. These little squares of gold, you receive those for a very modest fee, making an offering. And then what you do is, it's actually on a piece of paper. You actually push it onto the statue. And remember, gold is very malleable, so it actually is easily pressed into the porous concrete statue. And you see some were not pressed properly, so they're kind of flaking off. But that's real gold, gold leaf. Let's see what they're using, Doreen. What are they doing with that? Oh, you put it in the bowl. I see. Okay. Now, here's something interesting. You make an offering and they're going to give you a plate of coins, and then you'll go and put these coins in the bowls. And these represent different monks. Okay, and now what are we looking at here? We're in a Buddhist temple, but this is not a Buddhist monk. This is Yogi. He's actually the developer of yoga. So here he is, and all different examples of him. Looks to be basically in the same pose. So we have a whole section devoted to him. And actually there are 10 yogis. 10 yogis. So this is quite an elaborate Buddhist temple, very different from anything we visited before. Quite large and elaborate. And here we see a line of Siddhartha, or the Buddha. And what happens is you make a donation and they're going to give you a tray full of coins. However, the donation is not specified, so if I put a 20 baht bill in the donation box, they're giving me the equivalent, if not more than 20 baht of coins. So they're trusting you to actually put them in the bowl. And now here we see the Buddhist monks. And this is a line of famous Buddhist monks. Now, just about all Thai young men become a novice monk for a period of time, usually just a few weeks. But what they do, of course, is learn the precepts of the novice monk and learn about what Thai Buddhism is, something that they're encouraged to follow for their life. But some people, of course, enter the, quote, priesthood and become a monk and actually dedicate their lives working at the temple. And here, of course, this temple has a large group of people that work to maintain it. And of course, it is a way they make a living too, because a lot of money is spent here coming to visit the temple. Well, that was a rather interesting, unique Thai temple, unlike anything that we visited before. And we visited a lot of Thai Wats here in Thailand. I don't think there are too many we missed, but this certainly is a unique one. And I would say it's well visited too. Aha. And of course I'm looking for Fanta, and that doesn't look like Fanta. But that's one of the favorite drinks for offering there to specifically Ganesha. This is not Ganesha, but Ganesha's favorite is Fanta.